Hey, how's it going, guys? Jack and Matt here with the Toasty Bros, and today we're going to be doing a $350 budget Xbox mod.
Now, we already put this thing together, but we're going to tell you how we did it and exactly how it performs. But before we get into that, let's hear a word from today's sponsor. Today's video is brought to you by GVGMall, an online marketplace to gain access to some really awesome discounted game keys, and more specifically, Windows 10 licenses.
And if you're interested, use the link down below and buy the Windows 10 Pro activation using our code TB20 to get 20% off.
All you have to do to activate Windows 10 license is buy the key by using code TB20 and then throw the Windows 10 key into your Windows 10 activation on the system you wish to install it in, and boom, you have activated Windows 10 and you no longer have to look at that horrible watermark in the bottom right corner.
So thanks again to GVGMall for sponsoring this video.
Let's get right into the video, shall we?
So a lot of you guys are probably wondering, what do I mean by mod? Well, this is now a gaming PC. Yeah, it's not an Xbox anymore, it's a gaming PC, still running Windows Microsoft, so it's kind of still an Xbox in a way.
Now, the main reason we did this mod was one, well, we haven't done custom mods here in a long time, and it also just allows us to do a different style of content here on the channel, especially with PC prices the way that they are right now. So if you guys like this style of content, please comment down below and let us know. We'd love to do more in the future and invest in proper stuff to make this more efficient.
So taking the original Xbox apart is relatively easy. You have a lot of screws in the bottom. There's going to be some that are under stickers because, well, warranty purposes back in the day. You have to obviously get out all the original internals, so there's going to be a hard drive, there's going to be the disk drive, there's going to be a full motherboard, full power supply. It's honestly not too far off from like what an old computer used to look like on the inside, but once you get that stuff out and gutted, there's really not a whole lot more modding to the case to be done besides cutting, which that's the fun part. And disclaimer, we actually bought this Xbox dead. You can get them on eBay for somewhere between $20 to $30 for a non-working dead one, so we saved an Xbox Live today. An Xbox Live today.
Xbox Live.
Xbox
Get it?
Live.
Get it? And one thing that was special about our Xbox is there was some like animal eggs of some sort inside there. It was just, I don't know what it was, but you know, the beauty of this old hardware, sometimes it's been through a lot.
We got bed bugs.
Yeah, it had some bed bugs. So as far as the specs go inside this PC, we actually went with a combo from UCW, which unfortunately is actually out of stock right now, but we'll leave a link down below and include a discount code for anything on their website. UCW is a great seller of PC hardware, more specifically used PC hardware, and if you do purchase from them, they do give back to people in need who need PC hardware, so it's a great cause. So be sure to check the link down below if you want to shop at UCW. We work with them a lot, and special thanks again to them for sending over this mini ITX motherboard combo that came with an i3 3220, 8 gigs of RAM, and a mini ITX motherboard, and it was only 60 bucks, so it was a great deal at the time, but we ended up swapping out that i3 with an i5 2400 just to get a little bit more performance. Now, the one thing we had to compromise with this build, and some people actually have done this mod, managed to fit full-size cards, but without having to do a lot of modding and having to get like a riser cable and things like that, we decided to just go the easy route and get a low-profile GPU, which the best option you can get right now in the market is a 1650. That card doesn't require any external power and also performs pretty well for the money, better than like a 1050 or 1050 Ti, and you get them readily available on Amazon, Newegg, wherever you want to buy them. And we really wouldn't have wanted to get anything better because it probably would have been bottlenecked by this older i5. So if you were building something like this with maybe like a Ryzen 3 or something in the future, you could go for a better GPU, but in our use case, this was perfect. Now, another thing we had to figure out was what power supply we wanted to go with. So the power supply we originally wanted to go with was a SFX power supply, which is basically like a full-size power supply, just like shrunk down. With the way this Xbox is laid out, we wanted something that was a lot thinner. So what we looked at was these mini ITX power supplies, which are a lot longer as opposed to basically just a straight up box. So we went with this Apevia 400 watt power supply that you can pick up for very cheap. Yeah, it's Apevia, it's kind of like a cheaper brand, but for this mod, it does the job and it's really affordable. And it allowed us to fit it really nicely into this case without having to do any crazy modding to it.
And I'm just gonna talk about some of the mods that we had to do just to make all this stuff actually fit and work properly so this could actually be used as a normal PC rather than just a showpiece. So for the graphics card, it actually was pretty easy. We didn't have to cut the side at all. It's just still looks exactly like it originally did. It actually has the proper breathing ports that the graphics card needs. We just had to cut the metal on the inside so the graphics card had somewhere to put the fans. Obviously on the back, we had to do a lot of cutting, which you guys will see, a lot of plastic and a lot of metal cutting, but we actually have the IO shield installed. We have the IO fully accessible and honestly pretty good looking. We still kept as much of the original Xbox as we could without having to really jankify it. And then for the power supply, literally the only thing that you actually have to plug in is just the power cord. So yeah, that one also was a really small cut. Coming up to the front of the build, this was the most exciting part. We did not go cheap with this because we wanted actual USB ports in the front. We didn't want to use those adapters that you can buy because we're like, if we're gonna spend money on adapters, why not just actually have working USB 3 ports? So we actually have a USB 3 splitter inside the Xbox, then going out to 4 separate ports that are all hot glued in place. They actually work really well, surprisingly. And then that took a little bit of effort, but really no modding, just gluing them in. And then obviously getting this power button working. It's similar to a pretty standard case power button where you basically just need 2 pins to make contact for a short period of time to be able to turn the system on. That's basically what we made this power button do, running off the original wiring, which is really nice. We didn't have to do any major mods there. Getting the LEDs to work was a little bit of another story. We had to actually look up a wiring diagram for the Xbox and basically run 4 separate wires together. We could have technically done like green and red, or green and red are opposing, but we just got stuck with red. So we decided, you know what, why not red? It's not the original color and it looks cooler because it's a resto mod, so you don't need the original color, but we got all that stuff working and working really well, if I do say so myself.
Obviously, with some of the modding we had to do, we were using some cheaper stuff that we had on hand. We could have made cleaner cuts with some better stuff we eventually upgraded to. We were using like an older Dremel at first and then got a better Dremel to actually cut through this plastic a lot easier. But again, this is something that we're trying out new here, so you guys can see if you're interested in it, and we'll expand and invest into this style content on the channel in the future. But overall, building this thing was relatively simple. We thought it was going to be a pain to put this thing together, but I was actually pretty impressed with how painless it was to actually fit everything in this Xbox, and it's kind of the perfect enclosure if you're looking to do a mod like this because it kind of has similar-esque PC components already installed, so it kind of just fits.
So we only really benchmarked one game, and that was CSGO, just because, well, you know, it's more of a mod. We're not really aiming this to be like a gaming PC, but CSGO though ran perfectly fine, and honestly, we've done plenty of these Optiplex style builds where it's an i5-2400 with something like a 580 or the 1650, which we all know runs very well in pretty much any game. You might have to lower some settings here and there, but 1080p gaming really is not a problem for a system like this. We did have temps a little bit higher, but that's because our CPU cooler has some broken pins on it, so we need to actually get a new cooler for it. But besides that, we made it work for the video, and that's what's important.
I could see this being a great little project for somebody who wants like an emulator station where you could play like older Xbox games through an emulator. You can play a lot of different games on this setup, maybe play Halo Master Chief Collection on a custom Xbox. Look kind of cool. So this thing has a wide range of use cases, so it was a fun mod to put together, and overall the performance, I was very impressed. Again, you could go with something like a mini ITX Ryzen board also if you want to invest more money into a concept like this, but mainly this was just kind of a showcase of what we could do with something like this and kind of to gauge your interest on what kind of stuff we could do in the future on the channel.
If you guys want to buy any of the stuff that we actually used to make this Xbox happen, use the links in the description down below. They are affiliate links, so they do help us out a lot. Also, don't forget to check out our Twitch and our other 2 YouTube channels that are really awesome. You know, drop a subscribe, a follow. Don't forget to also subscribe to this channel, add a like and a follow. You don't follow on YouTube.
No.
Dang it, I was doing so good.
Subscribe.
Just subscribe.
Okay, we'll see you guys later. Bye.